2,000 years ago, someone in the ancient Greek world built a machine out of bronze that could predict eclipses, track the moon, and calculate the date of the Olympic Games. When it was found, it looked like a lump of corroded metal. Inside were more than 30 interlocking gears. Nothing that complex would appear again for over 1,000 years. In a museum in London sits a Roman cup that turns from green to blood red when you shine a light through it, because someone in the 4th century laced the glass with particles of gold and silver so small we didn't have a word for them until the 20th century. In Lebanon, there is a single carved stone that weighs 1,600 tons, and no one can fully explain how it was meant to be moved. This is not a video about aliens. Every single one of these things is real, sitting in a museum or a quarry right now, and specialists still cannot fully rebuild them or explain how they were made. You're about to count down 12 pieces of ancient technology we still can't explain, all the way to number 1, a device so far ahead of its time that historians call it the world's first computer. Let's begin. Number 12, the Iron Pillar of Delhi. In a courtyard in India stands a column of iron more than 7 meters tall, weighing over 6 tons, forged around the year 1600 years ago. Iron is supposed to rust, leave a nail outside, and within a few years it turns to flakes. But this pillar has stood exposed to 16 centuries of monsoon rain and blazing heat, and it has almost no rust at all. For a long time, nobody understood why. When scientists finally analyzed it, they found the ancient smiths had used iron with an unusually high level of phosphorus, and over the centuries that phosphorus reacted with the air to grow a paper-thin protective film across the surface. In 1,600 years, that film has grown just 1/20th of a millimeter thick. Ancient Indian metalworkers had accidentally invented a form of corrosion protection that modern industry only understood in the 20th century. But if you think preserving iron is impressive, wait until you see what the Romans did with stone. Number 11, Roman concrete. This is the Pantheon in Rome. Its dome is nearly 2,000 years old, and it is still the largest unreinforced concrete dome on the entire planet. Think about that. We have skyscrapers and space stations, and we still have not built a bigger dome of plain concrete than one the Romans finished in the year 126. Modern concrete starts cracking and crumbling within decades. Zavods fail, bridges rot. But Roman harbors that have been sitting in the pounding salt water of the Mediterranean for 2,000 years are actually stronger now than the day they were poured. For centuries, we thought the Romans just had good luck. Then researchers discovered their secret. The Romans mixed their concrete hot, with lumps of quicklime baked right into it. When a crack forms and water seeps in, those lime lumps dissolve and recrystallize, filling the crack back in. Their concrete literally heals itself. We are only now, in the last few years, learning how to copy it. But raw toughness is one thing. Number 10 is about a material so perfect that no one has ever truly reproduced it. Number 10, Damascus Steel. For centuries, blades made from a legendary steel called woods, forged in the Middle East from ingots that came out of India, were the most feared weapons on Earth. On the surface, they carried a rippling, watery pattern that looked almost liquid. The legend said a Damascus blade could slice through a falling silk scarf and still shatter a European sword. And here is the strange part. When European smiths tried to copy them, they failed over and over for hundreds of years. Then sometime around the 1700s, the original recipe was simply lost. The special ore ran out, the knowledge died with the last masters, and no one could make true Damascus steel anymore. In 2006, scientists put an old blade under an electron microscope and found something astonishing inside the metal. Carbon nanotubes and nanowires, structures we associate with cutting-edge modern science, formed accidentally by medieval smiths who had no idea they were doing nanotechnology. If steel that fights back sounds impossible, number 9 turns light itself into a magic trick. Number 9, the Lycurgus Cup. This Roman glass cup is around 1,600 years old, and it does something that should be impossible. When you light it from the front, it is a solid, milky jade green. But when you place a light inside it and look through the glass, it glows a deep, glowing ruby red. The same cup, two completely different colors, depending only on where the light comes from. When modern scientists finally worked out why, they were stunned. The Roman glassmakers had ground gold and silver into particles just 50 billionths of a meter across, and dissolve them into the glass. Those metal specks are so tiny they scatter and transmit different colors of light. This is colloidal nanotechnology, the exact same principle we use today in cutting-edge sensors, created by a Roman workshop more than 1,000 years before anyone could see an atom. And the most incredible part is the only complete object of its kind ever found. Whoever knew the recipe took it to the grave. Now we go from a cup that plays with light to a weapon that terrified an entire empire. Number 8. Greek fire. In the 7th century, the Byzantine Empire, the surviving half of Rome, was fighting for its life. Enemy fleets were closing in on its capital, Constantinople. And then the Byzantines unleashed a weapon that turned the sea itself into a wall of flame. They called it Greek fire. It was a liquid they sprayed from bronze tubes mounted on their warships, and it did something no fire should do. It burned on water. It stuck to whatever it touched. It could not be put out with water, and some accounts say water only made it worse. Entire enemy fleets were incinerated. Greek fire saved Constantinople more than once and kept the empire alive for centuries. But here is the mystery. The recipe was one of the most closely guarded state secrets in history. Only a handful of people ever knew it, and it was passed down in total secrecy until the chain finally broke. Today, we have the histories, we have the drawings, and we still do not know exactly what Greek fire was made of. The formula is genuinely lost. From a lost recipe, we go to an object that might just be a lost invention entirely. Number 7. The Baghdad Battery. In 1936, near Baghdad, workers uncovered a small clay jar about the size of your fist, dating back roughly 2,000 years to the Parthian or Sasanian era. Inside was a copper cylinder, and inside that, an iron rod. On its own, that sounds like nothing, but look closely at the design. A copper tube, an iron rod, and a ceramic container. That is the exact layout of a simple electric battery. When modern researchers built replicas and filled them with something acidic like vinegar or grape juice, the jars produced a real, measurable electric current, around 0.5 volt to 2 volts. Now, no one can prove the ancients actually used these as batteries. It is hotly debated. Maybe they stored sacred scrolls. But the fact remains that someone, 2,000 years ago, assembled the precise components of a battery, and under the right conditions those objects generate electricity. Whether it was intentional or the most incredible coincidence in the history of technology, we genuinely do not know. Number 6 leaves the world of small objects behind and enters a chamber cut from solid rock with impossible precision. Number 6. The Granite Boxes of the Serapeum. Beneath the sands of Saqqara in Egypt lies a network of tunnels, and lining those tunnels are 24 gigantic boxes carved from solid granite. Each box, with its lid, weighs between 70 and 100 tons. Granite is one of the hardest stones on Earth. It resists steel tools, and yet these boxes were hollowed out, squared off, and polished with surfaces so flat and corners so sharp that modern engineers, measuring them with laser equipment, have found them accurate to within a fraction of a millimeter. That is the kind of tolerance we expect from a modern machine shop, achieved more than 2,500 years ago. And it is not just the Serapeum. Egyptians were carving delicate vases out of granite and diorite with a symmetry so precise that people still argue about how it was even possible with copper tools and sand. Then there is the unfinished obelisk at Aswan, a single piece of stone that, had it been raised, would have weighed over 1,000 tons. But if precision on that scale amazes you, wait until you see what the people of the desert drew on a canvas you can only see from the sky. Number 5. The Nazca Lines. Across a high, dry plateau in southern Peru, ancient people scraped away the dark reddish stones on the surface to reveal the pale ground underneath, and in doing so they drew. Not small drawings, enormous ones. A hummingbird 90 meters long, a monkey with a curling tail, a spider, a condor, a strange figure some call the astronaut. There are hundreds of them, along with straight lines that run arrow straight for kilometers across the landscape. They were made around 1,500 to 2,000 years ago. And here's what makes them so haunting. From the ground, you can barely tell they are there. The shapes only snap into focus from high in the air. So the obvious question is, why would people build giant, perfect images that they themselves could never fully see? We still do not have a definitive answer. Some think they were tied to water or the stars or religious processions. And astonishingly, researchers using artificial intelligence are still discovering brand new figures out there today. From lines in the desert, we climb to walls built from stone so massive it defies belief. Number 4. The Walls of Sacsayhuamán. High above the old Inca capital of Cusco stand walls made of stones so enormous that the largest weigh well over 100 tons. But the size is not even the most impressive part. Look at how they fit together. These are not neat, rectangular bricks. They are wild, irregular, many-sided blocks, some with 10 or 12 angled faces, and they are locked together so tightly that even today, after 500 years, you cannot slide a sheet of paper or a knife blade into the joints. No mortar, no cement, just colossal stones, each one carved to nest perfectly against its neighbors, curves matching curves, angles matching angles. And this precision had a purpose. Cusco sits in earthquake country. When the ground shakes, the massive interlocking stones move, absorb the shock, and settle back into place, while Spanish colonial buildings around them collapsed. How the Inca shaped, transported, and fitted these giants without iron tools or the wheel is still argued about to this day. And now we come to stones that make even these look small. Number 3. The Megaliths of Baalbek. In Lebanon stand the ruins of a colossal Roman temple complex, and built into one of its walls, several meters off the ground, are 3 of the largest cut stones ever used in construction anywhere on the planet. They are called the trilithon. Each of these 3 blocks weighs around 800 tons. 800! A fully loaded jumbo jet weighs less than 400 tons. So each stone is like lifting 2 jumbo jets, cutting them into a perfect rectangle and stacking them neatly in a wall, 7 meters up. And they got heavier. In a quarry just down the road lies the stone of the pregnant woman, still partly attached to the bedrock, weighing roughly 1,000 tons. And then, in 2014, archaeologists found an even bigger one buried nearby, tipping the scale at around 1,600 tons. It is the single largest stone block humans are known to have ever quarried. How the Romans, or whoever came before them, planned to move and raise stones of this size is a question that still does not have a satisfying answer. But raw size is not the same as raw age. Number 2 was already ancient when the pyramids were brand new. Number 2, Göbekli Tepe. On a dusty hilltop in southeastern Turkey sits what may be the most important archaeological discovery of our time. Rings of massive, T-shaped stone pillars, some over 5 meters tall and weighing up to 10 tons, carved with astonishing detail. Foxes, scorpions, boars, vultures, snakes, all rippling across the stone in relief. Now here is why this changes everything. Göbekli Tepe is around 11,600 years old. Let that sink in. It is roughly 7,000 years older than Stonehenge and 6,000 years older than the Egyptian pyramids. It was built before writing, before metal tools, before pottery, before the wheel. It was even built before farming. For a century, historians believed monuments like this could only come after civilization, after agriculture gave people cities and free time. Göbekli Tepe flips that on its head. Hunter-gatherers with nothing but stone tools quarried, carved, and raised these giant pillars. And then, for reasons no one understands, they deliberately buried the entire site. Is forcing us to rewrite the story of where civilization began. And yet, for sheer impossible sophistication, nothing beats number 1. Number 1, the Antikythera Mechanism. In 1901, sponge divers exploring an ancient shipwreck off the tiny Greek island of Antikythera hauled up a shapeless green lump of corroded bronze. For decades, it sat almost ignored. Then X-rays and later high-resolution scanning revealed what was hidden inside, and it rewrote everything we thought we knew about the ancient world. Packed into a box roughly the size of a shoebox were more than 30 precisely cut, interlocking bronze gears. This was a hand-cranked mechanical computer built more than 2,000 years ago. When you turned the handle, it modeled the heavens. It tracked the position of the sun and the moon. It showed the phases of the moon. It followed the 19-year cycle that syncs the solar and lunar calendars. And, most stunning of all, it could predict eclipses years in advance, using a dial based on a 223-month cycle. It even tracked the 4-year schedule of the ancient Olympic Games. The precision of the gearing is so fine that, for more than 1,000 years after it sank, nothing of remotely similar complexity is known to have existed anywhere on Earth. Human beings would not build machines this intricate again until the great astronomical clocks of medieval Europe. Someone 21 centuries ago held the cosmos in their hands and turned it with a crank, and then that knowledge vanished from the world. It is quite simply the most incredible piece of ancient technology ever found. From an iron pillar that refuses to rust, to a Roman cup laced with gold too small to see, to a 2,000-year-old computer that predicted the sky. Every single one of these is real, and every single one still holds a secret we have not completely cracked. These weren't wizards or visitors from stars. They were people, just like you, using patience, genius, and lifetimes of lost knowledge to build things that still leave modern engineers shaking their heads. So here's my question for you. Which one of these amazed you the most? Was it the self-healing concrete, the fire that burned on water, or the Antikythera Mechanism itself? Tell me in the comments. If this blew your mind, you will love our video on what's hidden under Antarctica, another world of secrets right beneath our feet. Subscribe to Wondersphere for more of the most incredible things on Earth, and I will see